It's Farrar, aka the guy, and welcome to another lunch from the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects: why you should consider sourcing in Mexico. Some of the things we're going to be discussing is why Mexico, why now, the advantages of manufacturing in Mexico, and the main issues of manufacturing in Mexico and how to overcome some of these hurdles. So welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm, lunch with Norm, lunch with
Okay, like I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about why you should consider sourcing in Mexico. A lot of you know that we've put on a sourcing trip just recently, very successful. And now people are coming out of the woodwork asking, why should we go to Mexico? So our guest today is a serial entrepreneur of 20 years. His experience is in a variety of different industries, from biotech to what am I trying to say? I just got out of the dentist chair, so my mouth is numb. I'm trying to concentrate. Anyways, from biotech to marketing, he has lived and worked in 4 continents and studied both in Europe and in the US. He focuses on providing HR, contract manufacturing, and logistics solutions for the US and European based companies in Mexico. My guest is my first time guest, Omer Dar. So before we get to Omar, we are going to have a word from the sponsor. The Legion is your go-to community where you can learn, grow, and build your Amazon and e-commerce business. As you know, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. Now you can share struggles, build a network, and celebrate your successes. And guess what? Our community is free. All you have to do is head over to our Facebook group to join. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel at Private Label Legion, so you can stay up to date with tips, strategies, and advice from other experts in the industry. Okay, remember one thing: to get all this great information, follow us, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get automatic notifications. Okay, where is Boy Wonder?
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Lunch with Norm. And yeah, welcome to another pre-recorded episode too. So if you are wondering if you can ask questions, if we're still going to be answering, the answer is yes. We're going to answer your questions. Just throw them over in the comment sections. We're going to be sending them to Omer and putting them in our Facebook group and getting you those answers. So stick around. I think there's going to be a lot to learn here. And of course, if you're new to the episode, we start off by smashing those like buttons, giving us a thumbs up. If there's suggestions you have for your future episodes, let us know in the comment sections, and or you can email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. Also, don't forget to follow us and join our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and E-commerce Collective. That's where all the fun happens. That's the good stuff where you can ask your questions to us. We might even be starting some webinars in there and a whole bunch of fun stuff. So check it out. Things are only going to be available in the Facebook group. So if we have deals or discounts or anything like that, they're going to be over there. So definitely check it out. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so we are going to be having a Wheel of Kelsey today. This is pre-recorded, but Kelsey is going to be on live doing the Wheel of Kelsey. And just like we were talking about earlier on, Kels, we've got a different format. It'll be hashtag Wheel of Kelsey plus a mystery word. And then if you tag 2 people, you get an extra entry. So just kind of, we're just trying to experiment with that. So people who want the Wheel of Kelsey can claim it. People who don't want it, then they don't have to. But we want to make sure that you know what the prize is, and that'll be talked about halfway through the podcast today. So sorry if I'm stumbling a little bit. I just got my second part to my root canal done, and my mouth is completely frozen. I'll probably be drooling. Kelsey, tell me if I start to drool on myself. But I'm even going to go one step further and
Wow, risky.
try to drink coffee out of the other side of the mouth. So that's talent. Anyway, yes, thank you, Kels. Thank you. All right. So I think if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section. And if you have any questions or comments, throw it in the comment section. And now we could just sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the episode. Welcome, Omar.
Hi, Norm. How are you? How are you, gentlemen, today?
I am pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. By the way, Mexico is also good with the dentist, much cheaper and much better. So next time, consider.
You know, while I was there, I met some really cool people, and they were saying the exact same thing. In the town that they live in, they've got world-class dentists, and it's so like they're telling me the prices, and I was just hitting my head against the wall. But yeah, that is something to consider. Medical travel. We're not going to get into it, but that's another reason to source in Mexico. But
Yeah. Another episode, we'll talk about that.
that's a whole other episode. So, anyways, I don't know if we just want to jump right in on it, but Mexico, all of a sudden this year, we're hearing the word now, either Latin America or Mexico. Does Mexico stand above any of the other countries? And if so, why?
I mean, compared to Latin,
And I'm talking about in the Americas.
Yes, of course. Compared to LATAM, Mexico is definitely one of the strongest economies in LATAM. The country is 130 million people. A lot of the industries, car industry, aerospace industries have moved here 15, 20 years ago. So the level of education is very high. So definitely when it comes to manufacturing, there are plenty of good opportunities. It's a very advanced country compared to its neighbors. And of course, it's the one that borders with the US. So it has this advantage that is a big advantage compared to the other countries. Let's not forget that Mexico is part of the USMCA, which is like the new version of NAFTA, which makes it, from trade point of view, favorable compared to the other countries. So all in all, I think that Mexico certainly have the advantage compared to the others.
So when I was talking to people prior to the event, people were wondering, a lot of people were wondering, what can I get in Mexico? And, a lot of people just thought, oh, you can get ceramics and you can get like different types of textiles. When I attended the trade show, I was shocked at the different and the diverse products that I could. I mean, Kelsey ended up carrying it all back for me, but I ended up buying a ton of samples of all different things. I want to dig into that a little bit. And what type of products can you get out of Mexico?
Sure. So I think that coming from working with China, a lot of people may expect very similar system. System is different. That said, it doesn't mean that you cannot get a lot of different products from Mexico. So typically, when you think about Mexico and you think about the more smaller buyers, not the automotive industry or the aerospace industry, we are talking about apparel as number one. So anything to do with fabrics is definitely a huge industry here. There are plenty of options to go with, anywhere from bathing suits to bottom shirts, trousers, anything that you can think of, you can source from here. But there are other industries that are very strong, like the wood industry. You mentioned ceramics. The electronics is starting to get very strong here. Anything to do with metal can definitely be sourced here. And I think that when you come to actually look into what Mexico has to offer, you need to take into consideration one thing. It's not China, and you cannot compare China to Mexico. The fundamental difference is that probably when you go to the X-works, to the cost of the actual manufacturing, Mexico might still be slightly more expensive. And the reason being is that the majority of the raw materials are coming from other places. So when we are
Right.
talking about plastic resins, for example, still being manufactured in or sourced from China, the labor cost is actually lower than China, which makes it a bit more favorable when it comes to hard labored products. But all in all, the X works is still a bit more expensive. Where we can compete is obviously on logistics and border crossing costs. So if we are thinking now from China, where it takes, I don't know, now 4 to 8 weeks, I think that the time has improved slightly in the last couple of months. Mexico is a couple of days away. So from leaving the factory until reaching the border and sometimes crossing it 3-4 days, and you are already in the US. So it's a significant difference. What it tells me and what I think about it is that nowadays buyers or sellers on e-commerce sellers need to take an approach of risk averse or risk averse kind of a methodology, which means that they should diversify their production both to the Far East and to Mexico. So we know that when you build a brand, if the price is right, is great, but if the product doesn't arrive on time, you may lose a lot of momentum. And I think that nowadays people need to realize, okay, so let's build a diversified strategy that will ensure both the price and the speed to market. And I think the working with Mexico definitely give you that option. But again, when you are coming to Mexico, don't look at it as whether it's China or Mexico, but a kind of a combined strategy to supply your goods at the right time and in the right price.
Yeah, those are some good tips. Also, going back to just some of the products that I saw at the trade show, one of the things was EVA foam. So I've also, when I was in Prosper, I met a really great father and son team out of Colombia producing EVA foam, but typically I was getting it out of China. And the EVA foam, high quality EVA foam, is being produced over here and at a very good price. And you cut way back on the freight costs. So, and the tariffs. So you're not paying the 25% duties. So it might look like upfront, it might be a bit more, but when you factor in all of your costs, your landed costs, it could be a little bit more. But what do you pay for convenience? And, what do you pay for that security? So I don't know about you, but I buy a lot of stuff out of China. I have a lot of, I know a lot of Amazon sellers that buy out of China. And these last couple of years have been hell.
Sure.
And it's just become tougher and tougher and tougher. Now, that's not saying don't go to China. I still buy stuff in China. But
Sure.
I've kind of focused back into the Americas. I buy, for me, most of my product is actually out of the US. And Omar, I was shocked when I took a look and I saw the wellness products. And when I saw the soap, like the quality of the cold processed soap, like I was all over this one booth. I took one of everything, really unique bath bombs I've never seen before. Anyways, this really knocked me back because I thought I knew what I was going to see. And my expert, I can't talk with this mouth. My expectations were kind of mid-range, maybe even a little bit below. I was expecting to see some interesting things, but not at that level. Like even the barbecue guy, the barbecue guy that was there, and he has he sells all the way down to Argentina, not a single barbecue in the United States. And the other guy with the waste material, the plastics that biodegrade over a period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, these are new items that you could do a lot with. So,
and this
anyways,
kind of gem exists all over. So it really ups to the grinding to do the grinding and to look for those opportunities. So you touch the beauty industries. It's the beauty industries. It's the food supplements. Huge industries in Mexico. Anything to do with chemists and to do with industrial designing. There are plenty of talents here that, because of the level of education that allows these industries to develop and to be an option, a real option for American e-commerce sellers. So we are actually doing a couple of projects in the beauty industry. For one client, it's more lotions and creams, and for the other one, it's more food supplements that are being basically custom-made to his needs for a trainer that has an idea of what kind of ingredients he wanted, and we put together a team of chemists that are actually building the product for him and preparing it for mass production. So these industries definitely exist, and other industries exist. It all depends on really on grinding and finding the right ones and helping them understand the potential of the US. So this is a two-street way. We have to understand that as the demand coming into Mexico, more capabilities will develop. So what we see today will be completely different in a year if the situation will continue like that. I'm speaking to manufacturers, and many of them are telling me, Omer, if the demand is there, we will do our adjustment to it. We will buy new machineries. We will invest in new technologies. We want to be serving the American markets. We understand the potential, and we will not let what happened 30 years ago in the textile industry. By the way, 30 years ago, Mexico was a huge exporter to the US in textile industry, and then the Chinese took over. They will not let this mistake come back when the opportunity is now on the table. So a lot of the factories are taking the initiative, are renewing their machinery in order to give a better service to the American clients.
and even the standby, like the ceramics, I think you were right across from the ceramic company. That we took a tour of the ceramic company the day before, and anyways, the quality, the high-end quality of that ceramic company was fantastic. So I that's another thing Kelsey brought home for me. Like I bought a ton of stuff from them, and just because it was so high end. But one of the things that I think we have to talk about, this came up. The seller that was attending came up to me and said about the product I was looking at, said, I checked with that lady and she doesn't have an export license.
Yeah.
So what happens in that situation?
And that's the reason where my company comes into play. So my company, WeTrack, is a sourcing company. And basically what we are doing right now is filling the gap of what is now in the market and what needed to take those products into the American markets. So maybe we'll jump to where are the issues right now after we talked about
Sure.
the opportunities. I think that because we are in a transition state, there are still a lot of issues in the market. One of them is exports. A lot of those companies, especially the artisan type of workshops, they are not licensed or they don't have the capability of export. Many of them don't want to deal with it. So I can tell you an example of a company that we took really and we quadrupled the revenue by bringing an American clients to their facility, and they did an amazing job. But when it came to the point that we said, okay, we need to export it now, we need from you XYZ in order to do the exportation. And we, as a company, help those smaller companies to prepare themselves for exportation. The owner told me, look, Omer, I don't want to deal with it. It's not my expertise. I'm very convenient with where I am. Thank you for the business, but this is your job. And when we realized that, we found a solution. So there are solutions to that thing. It's and the way we do it is we are actually using other companies that are willing to essentially buy those kind of product and legally exporting it to the US, so we don't have any issue in the way. But this is a kind of building the legal expertise of how to move it across the border, because this could be an issue if we don't get the right certification out there. So we are working with all of those companies to build those capabilities so we can reduce costs, because each movement like that actually increases the cost of the product simply because of the cost of the legality of doing those actions. So we are working with those small manufacturers. We are helping them understand that this is for their own sake to develop those capabilities, but it's a process, and some of them will develop these capabilities quickly, and some of them it will take a year, a couple of years till they get ready and emotionally and legally to actually export. So we touch one point, which is export. The other point is logistics. It's a completely different expertise to once you finish the production, to take it across the border, to find the right carriers. We all know that there is a big issue in logistics right now. The scarcity of trucks. I'm talking about Mexico. So the way to move from Mexico to the US is mainly by trucks. So the scarcity of trucks means that even if you get the quote, doesn't mean that the truck is available right now on the market. So we have a team that is dedicated on finding the carriers, helping get the right pricing, whether it's LTL, which is less than truckload, or FTL, which is full truckload, and basically helping our clients to move across the border. The main work of WeTrack is actually project management. So what we do on the day-to-day basis is this very essential communication with the manufacturer. Not all manufacturers speak English. Majority of them don't. Not all of them know how to work in a timeline that we expect them to work. So we know that a lot of our buyers, a lot of our clients are actually aiming to reach high season. So let's say for the Black Friday or for the holiday season. Yep. If there is no feet on the ground, you'll never reach those goals. The idea is, how do you construct the right contract with them? When do you send your people to be physically in the factory and supervise and look and discuss it with the owner of the factory and explain the essential time that we need to reach. And another point is the quality control. We need to make sure that what goes out of this factory is actually to the satisfaction of our clients. So we discuss with the clients prior to starting production, what are their expectations. We create those tables, Excel sheets that are very accurate. We provide it to the manufacturer. We make sure that the manufacturer is aware of what they need to look into when they go to production. And then once production started, we have specific periods that we arrive and we do a quality check. We take samples, and if the samples are not to our satisfaction, they have to repeat the process or the point where they did the production wrong. So those are some of the things that WeTrack is dealing with day to day. The other thing is many of our clients come with an idea. They don't have the full product. So we help put the team of industrial designers, engineers, whatever it takes, put them together and help them create the product, to do the product development process from A to Z.
Very good. So one of the things that is, I've seen this happen over and over again, is a seller, excuse me, a seller is either new or intermediate. I find it a lot of times, in that area, and they're trying to save money, so they just do it all themselves, and they do everything wrong, or not necessarily wrong, but ways that are going to cost them way more money in the long run. And one thing, so I think you know this, but I have a logistics company as well, and Afalabi was there. I think you met him. And anyways, one of the things that was constant was we would have a new client that would come to us. They wouldn't provide enough information for us to get an accurate quote. Then the quote came, and you'd have, coming back and forth 20 different times. And the worst part of all, and this is where I'm going to lead to it, they didn't understand the culture or the way to communicate. And so what would happen is relationship we've established would be absolutely destroyed because our client would contact them, tick them off so bad that they didn't want to do anything with the. I think that would be the same way. And this is why going to an agency, like I'm not saying, hey, go over there, check out Omar. What I am telling you is you should try to find somebody that you can work with that's fair and that you get along with personality wise, and let them do all the hard lifting. It's going to cost you some. It's going to cost you a little. I remember, okay, so from our end, it would cost an upfront fee, plus it would be 5% ongoing. But we'd probably save 20%, and we'd have some clients saying, well, you're taking 5%. Yeah, but we're taking care of all the nightmares, and we're saving you a 15% on top of that. But you're taking 5%. You know, and
This is
anyways,
something that people learn on their own flesh. So everybody is doing this mistake at the beginning. They are thinking, okay, if I save 5% here, then everything will be fine. People don't understand that as much as they, when you're trying to do things, everything together, you will completely lose your way. People asking, why don't you do online selling? You have all the capabilities, you have all production behind you. And I'm always saying, the number one reason, I'm not an expert on selling online. I don't know how to do it. And if I'll ever do it, I'll probably hire somebody to do it for me. The second reason is I don't want to compete with my clients, and that's the reason why I'll never do it. But every company has its own expertise. The majority of the sellers on the online platforms, they are expert in marketing, and that's great. The problem is that if they start to think that they are also expert in manufacturing and don't take advices from the people that are actually an experts in there, we are going to a big mess up. And I can tell you that I have clients that have done it before in the past and came to me after a few rounds of failure, that they spent tens of thousands of dollars and finally realized that they need to do it the right way. You cannot do it all by yourself. It always takes a village to actually create something. And I think that your point about logistics is true for manufacturing. It's true for border crossing. It's true any point of your way. As the same way you don't go to file your taxes by yourself, but you go to an accountant and paying money in order to make sure that you're actually saving money. The same thing, you don't go to court and represent yourself, but you go to a lawyer to help you out. It's the same thing here.
Yeah, and on top of that, probably one of the most important things that you can take from this, by working with a good sourcing company, they know the ins and outs of the market, and probably more importantly, the culture and how to communicate. Now, we're going to go to a commercial in a second, and we're going to come back and talk about communication in just a sec. But all right. So, like we've been talking about, we have the hashtag Wheel of Kelsey today, even though it's pre-recorded. And Kelsey's going to come on in 2 seconds and tell you what the mystery word is. And if you if you tag 2 people, you'll be entered twice. So, Mr. Boy Wonder, what is the mystery word?
The mystery word is hashtag Mexico. I think that's pretty fitting.
That's fine.
But of course, the most important part is the actual prize. So, Omar, what is the giveaway today?
So we are giving a free consultation. We will be happy to discuss your product, make sure if it fits the market, and if it fits the market, get you quotes from manufacturers, and basically helping you understand if it fits the Mexican market to go for production.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, and then hashtag Mexico. If you want to get a second entry, just tag 2 people. So, Kelsey, I'm giving you a little bit of time. Put your finger over the button and start the commercial. If you're selling on Amazon in 2022, you know how important it is to stand out from your competition. Let Honu Worldwide lend a helping hand with your product innovation to outcompete your competition online. That's right. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the success of your newly innovative product while Honu handles all the work. Visit honuworldwide.com for more information. That's Honu, Honu, worldwide.com, or email savings@honuworldwide.com. Okay. So, Omar, communication. Let's say somebody wants to go ahead and do this themselves, which is fine. What are some of the differences when you're communicating in Mexico?
Okay, so I think that, and I'll do the comparison to the US. So I
Sure.
don't know how many you know, but I lived 11 years in the US, so I'm actually very familiar as well with the customs in the US. The US is very direct, to the point. It's numbers. It's like, if there is a business, then everybody should be happy about it. In Mexico is completely different. It's more social. It's more breaking a bread. You need to make sure that the person in front of you likes you.
Mm-hmm.
That you went to lunch with them. That you develop some kind of relationship and trust before you go to a deal. So I think the key is understanding where this culture is coming from. So the Mexican culture is very family oriented. It's very important for them, the feeling that there is somebody on the other side that cares about them. And if you really want to get into their favors and the best prices, you need to make sure that they understand that you see them more than just a business. It's asking them about how they feel, about family, developing this more understanding on the personal side of the person in front of you, rather than just asking numbers. Asking numbers, you'll get some response, but again, the idea is always to get the best deal in the market. To get the best deal in the market requires not just showing them the business opportunity, but also showing them that you care about what they are feeling. I think this is the main advice I would give. Of course, it's more complex than that, and it takes time to really understand the subtleties of the Mexican culture. But the Mexican culture love events that are social events. So whether it's drinking tequila together, whether it's breaking bread again, as I said. So essentially, that's the advice I would give. Make sure that you develop personal connections.
And one of the things similar in China and Taiwan, and not so much right now, but when we started out 20 some odd years ago, when we flew over, we would always meet with the manufacturers, have tea,
Sure.
learn about each other's families, and then it would be the second day that business would start.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's I like that part of business, but one of the things that is a big bonus here is, at least here in Canada, Mexico is a few hours away. If I really wanted to go and meet with that supplier to make sure that they were the right one, just hop on a plane and you'll be there. And it's not that expensive.
It's not that expensive, and it's a great country.
Yeah.
I mean, those who were in the Evo Latam, actually, I think were very surprised. You know, there is a lot of misconception in North America, whether it's Canada or the US. Everything we hear in the news is about cartel, is about drugs, but this is far from reality. You know, so I'm a foreigner in Mexico. I'm an Israeli originally. My impression when I came to Mexico was of very warm people that will always invite you to their home, will always take care of you, and it was so far from what I had in mind or what the media is trying to portray. Like any other countries, you know, I'm used to it. I'm coming from a country that in the news it feels like it's always under a war, which is very far from the truth. But Mexico is the same. There are areas, you know, when we were in the trip to Mexico City, I was on this group and I saw that people were scared to go to the pharmacy under the hotel. And I wrote them, look, guys, I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in Atlanta. These places are more dangerous than what you are experiencing right now. I mean, the misconception of that you go downstairs and you get shot is completely far from the reality. So really the point is to understand that you are coming to a country that is really first and foremost about relationship and later on business.
Yeah, those are great points. And I can tell you, I was one of those people that I didn't know what to expect in Mexico City. I am planning on going back there multiple times because it was such a great experience. But one thing I'm going to remember this time is I'm going to be drinking a heck of a lot of water, and I'm not going to. I got that bloody altitude sickness, but but anyways, I mean, if that's the worst of it, I was so impressed with Mexico City. It's a great place, and unfortunately the media likes to hype up the cartels and everything, but we found it, at least every city's going to have the good, bad, and ugly parts. But we were able to walk around safely. My son was jogging around multiple blocks, no problems at all. Anyway, now this is a little bit deeper question, and I don't know if you can answer it simply because there's all sorts of this, but what about compliance? How do we know, or where do we even start with compliance? If I need to have certain compliance with a product, or if I ask my supplier for compliance, where do you go?
So first of all, let's take into consideration food supplements.
Okay.
The factories, they can provide an FDA certification. So depending, of course, on the industry, each industry has its own compliance, its own certification. It's very well regulated, especially in the companies that are used to do exportation. You can find all kind of certification that they can provide to you in order for you to go and have it sold in the US. I'll give you an example. We are now working with a client that is asked us for mattresses for hotels. Of course, mattresses for hotels are different than mattresses for the average Joe. They need to have fire resistance and antibacterial. I don't remember all the certification. When we went to the manufacturer and we actually started sourcing, all those that are specializing in producing mattresses for hotels have it. So it's not something that you even had to ask. They immediately provided us with everything that they have. The same thing with pipes. I just worked on EMP pipes, which is the pipes that you wire through it, the electrical cords in the US. There is the UL certification that you need in order to use it in the US. The factories that are producing it for exportation, they have it. So all of those certification, if you're talking about the products that needs those certification, you simply need to identify the right manufacturer that are on that level that can provide it to you, and you can find all certification that exist.
What about when you're first contacting the manufacturer, the MOQs? Are you finding them higher, lower? I'm going to expand out on this question for a second. China has a process. It's boom, 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 boom. When you check out and ask for an MOQ, are there going to be processes that are just going to speed this along, or is it a hurry up and wait process?
No, so typically MOQ depends on the size of the factory. There are factories that will have large MOQs, and there are factories that are more adapted to smaller quantities. So it really depends on that, and that's one of the first questions that you actually ask when you present a product to a manufacturer, and they typically will tell you their MOQs. You also need to know that obviously the lower MOQs you pay more per units, but
right.
I didn't see. So there is not one answer. Again, one of the things to do, and one of my jobs as a company is actually to identify the right manufacturer for the right client. So it could be that the client that starts really small will take one factory, and later on, when it grows up, he will move to a higher capacity factory that the MOQs are a bit higher.
Okay, very good. Just, I guess, a final question is if you could help us understand, give us in a summary the good, the bad, and what to stay away from, the ugly of sourcing in Mexico.
Okay, the good is the tequila, first of all.
Okay, all right, there you go.
So let's start with the. In Mexico, you can find many industries. So there is available a variety of industries that can be served, a variety of products. The quality is great. So I think that as compared to China, the quality in Mexico is not lower than that. Sometimes it's even higher. The proximity to market is a huge advantage. Moving from Mexico to the US is very quickly. Of course, the communication is much easier because of the time zone, because of the language. Culture-wise, they understand much more the American way. So it's easier to get them to understand what you actually want. And prices are decent. So in some industries, it's very, very competitive. But I think this is the way to look at it is really industry based. So I cannot give a whole answer about
Sure.
the attractivity based on all the industries. So these are the things that I really, really like in Mexico. What are the disadvantages? The first disadvantage is that we still don't have a system that is easy enough to identify a manufacturer. We don't have Alibaba.
Right.
Which means that the process of actually getting to the right manufacturer takes a bit more time. So if you do it alone, it's the time to get to the right manufacturer takes a lot of flights, a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion, a lot of search on the internet. So that's a big minus. The second thing, some products are more expensive because of the raw materials. So we need to take that into consideration. And another thing that I would say is how do you do the quality control without being feet on the ground? So that's something that people need to take into consideration. Of course, there are solutions for that, but it will require you to fly and to check. But I guess this is also a problem with China that you don't really know unless you send somebody to the factory. But it's, of course, cheaper to do it in Mexico. I think these are the main disadvantages. The ugly, let me think about it. It's a good question. What is the ugly? The ugly is sometimes you want to make sure that when you start a relationship with a Mexican manufacturer, that the terms are very well established, so you don't get to a point where they wanted to try to do above and beyond and you didn't want them to do above and beyond, and it started causing problem because their expectation is I did you a favor, or I was working harder than what you expected and you didn't compensate me. So these things needs to be really in the contract, making sure that this is my expectation and this is what me as an American that I have in my mindset. This is the frame that I want to work in, not more and not less. And many times it's a double-edged sword. So if somebody develop the right relationship, they will want to always go above and beyond. I've seen it a lot. But then their expectation many times is that when things are happening on their side, that you will go above and beyond. For example, if they delay a shipment, then you shouldn't enforce the penalties that are in the contract. So what we are trying to do is really explain to the manufacturer, look, this is what we are expecting. These are the points that are very, very important for us, and we will not be flexible. These are the things that we can be flexible in the long run, and make it very clear, both in contracts and when you are speaking directly with the manufacturer, not to get to the point where it becomes ugly. And I had this experience several times. So we have made changes to our communication and the way we are signing contracts with our manufacturer in order to avoid this misunderstanding and to avoid getting to points where it's feeling a bit weird for both sides.
Yeah. Communication is everything. Managing expectations is everything. And at the end of the day, this goes in China, India, wherever you're doing manufacturing. If it's not a win-win, there's going to be resentment.
Sure.
Something's going to happen. It's either going to be on the supplier side or on your side. And it's just not going to turn out good. So anyways, yeah, I think those are some really good points. Now, I do want to take a second here and get your contact information and let people know that you can take care of the sourcing, the innovation, logistics, inspection, pretty much anything we were talking about today. So instead of having to go out and do it all yourself, Omar and his team, they are there to help new sellers in Mexico. So why don't you just go ahead, give us your contact information.
Absolutely. Thank you, Norm. So my contact information is Omer, Omer, at Witrek, which is WITREK.com. So again, my company is a sourcing company. We do everything from A to Z. And the idea is really to help our clients to get to the market, speed to market as quickly as they can, helping them every step of the way and making sure that they are safe and that they don't do the mistakes that other companies are doing during that process.
Fantastic. Okay, Kelsey, where are you?
Yes, hello.
It's around that time, the Wheel of Kelsey. So
it is.
It's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, hashtag Mexico, and tag 2 people, and you get a second entry. So right around now, Kelsey is going to play the music. Then he's going to hit the wheel, and hopefully, Omar, you'll be impressed with the music.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. You know what? Let's play the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
Let's do it. Here we go.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
Very impressed.
All right. Thank you. Well, with some fancy editing, I'll be jumping in live during this live episode and announcing the winner. So congratulations to the future winner of the Wheel. Hello, everyone. So it's me. I'm live here on Friday. I hope everyone is enjoying their Friday workday. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can see who today's winner is. Like I said before, we're doing some pre-recorded episodes. Norm is away in Alaska with Connie. They're enjoying a nice little cruise together, and we'll be back next week. So I believe the next live episode, fully live episode, will be Wednesday. Monday will be a pre-recorded episode, and just want to give shout outs to everyone watching, Christine, Rich, Faye from Greece. We've got Fatin from Germany. I see Jeff watching. It's great to see everyone. We got Cool Hands, Michael, Jason, Chuck. Thank you all for tuning in and spending your Friday with me. So let me just give this a spin. Welcome Rad as well. And let's see who today's winner is. Nicholas, good to see you. And it's Rich. Congratulations, Rich. You are the winner. All right, congratulations. So, Rich, I'll send you over Omer's contact information and CC you. And yeah, as I posted in the comment sections before, but I want to just mention this one more time. Is there anything anyone is looking for on the podcast? Are there any topics? I know someone mentioned like going over inserts and the marketing behind that, how to build one out. Is there anything else? Let me know. You can email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com. And yeah, we'll see what we can do. I think the insert marketing would be a great option. Also want to mention that we are coming out with a few fun things on the horizon. So we're looking at kind of starting up our emails. We're going to be throwing out tips, advice. We're probably going to be doing some giveaways with our emails as well. So just stay tuned for that. And yeah, congratulations, Rich. And yeah, I'll continue with the rest of the episode. I think there's just a few more minutes left. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, so enjoy the rest of your show and enjoy the rest of your weekend. So Kelsey, congratulations. And we'll connect you with Omar. And yeah, we'll get you hooked up with your consultation strategy session. So looking forward to that. And yeah, it's great.
Perfect. Okay, Omar, thanks for coming on the podcast today. We're going to be reaching out and seeing if you can come back on another one. This is such a great topic, such a timely topic. And there's just a lot of activity in the marketplace. So would love to have you back on at some point.
Thank you, Norm. I appreciate the time and I appreciate the attention.
Hey, no problem at all. Okay, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed today's pre-recorded podcast. Lots going on in Mexico. If you haven't explored it, check it out. There's a lot of different ways, even if you don't have the right material or you want to change your materials, there's lots of different ways that you could work in Mexico. But anyways, Kelsey, why don't you come on?
All right. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget, before you leave, make sure you smash those like buttons and give us those thumbs up. We do really appreciate it. Also, if there's any suggestions for future topics or guests, maybe you saw on another podcast, or maybe you want Norm to be on another podcast, you can always email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, or throw it in the comment sections. And yeah, I'll do my best to see what I can do. And of course, stop by the Lunch with Norm Amazon FBA and e-commerce collective Facebook group. That is our Facebook group. That's where the Beard Nation is. And you can hang out with the fellow beardos. So if you have questions, looking for advice, maybe you just want to rant about something happening with your business, that's the place to do it. And yeah, it's a great place to be. And hope to see you there. And I think that's about it.
All right. So thank you for joining us today. And thank you for joining us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. I can't see the engagement, but usually there is a ton of engagement going on during the podcast as well as in the group. So the group is fantastic. We love you, and we could not do this without you. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Lunch with Norm.